Hi, Paul. Good morning. Okay, waiting for Isabel. Isabel. Wake up, Isabel. There she is. Hey, Justin. Hi, Andre. Hey, there she
Hi.
is. I decided to just start a little early so we could let people get some time to join.
All right, let's
So,
go.
so we're just sitting here drinking our coffee or our beer, whatever you
We're
have.
we're fine.
Waiting for people. Hi, Robbie.
Oh, Justin Bond is here.
I know.
Very exciting.
Justin is our special guest for today because he decided to join us, which he normally doesn't. So we feel honored, Justin. Hi,
I
Nate.
want to I want to have a MOUG live where Justin demonstrates in real time how to scan
Uh-oh.
doors.
Yeah, we
Because
should have him on here one day just to teach us a bunch of stuff.
yes.
I agree. I'm going to twist his arm and tell him he needs to come on. And then he'll get mad at me.
Oh no, come
No,
on.
I love Justin. Who doesn't love Justin?
Nobody.
Yeah. All right, we're just waiting for people to join here. We're a little bit early. If anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and hit us up. We're ready and waiting.
I have a question about the announcement you posted that the marketing team is interested in seeing the 2D photo and drone video integration. So, what are some of their thoughts on how external data can be incorporated in Matterport models? Because that's something that would excite me very much.
Right. Yeah, because I know you're into drones.
Well, and
And
also just 2D photos of the neighborhood where it may not make sense to Matterport it along with the house or office. I mean,
yeah,
you can go around doing 360s, but sometimes, the client has pre-existing, like I did this 1906 historic power plant and they had these archive photos that they wanted to include in the highlight reel. But it's like, no, I can make you a matter tag. And
yeah,
so basically there's a lot of demand for more options to incorporate content that was not created with the Matterport camera.
yeah. And the question is a good one. What is their intent for posting that? And I honestly have no idea. That was something from them. I just posted it. But if you guys have a lot of questions about it, we can certainly get somebody on here next week maybe to talk about that and tell us what they're doing with it. Yeah, I can look into that.
Yeah, that will be exciting. I think the more they see that, the public is consuming the data together, not just Matterport as a standalone thing, the
Yeah,
more hope we'll have that, eventually to have a more integrated product.
yeah, definitely. Okay, I'll look into that.
Hey.
Peter, Peter wants to become CEO of Matterport.
All right.
All right, Peter, we're ready for you.
I don't know if it's a very good job. People have a lot of demands on you when you're CEO of Matterport.
All right, so Raul says, thanks for my model. What happened? Raul, I have no idea because I don't know which one you're talking about. Sorry. I'll answer you later on, offline. Sergey says, I have an off-topic question. Account payment issues since January.
January
Oh,
3rd.
wait, no, I think that's March the 1st.
Oh, yeah.
Someone can delete my account. Sergey, if you can log into your account, then it hasn't been deleted. We did switch a billing system, so getting your invoices right now, you don't go through buy.matterport.com. You log into your account and you go to settings and you can see your invoices there. You have to be either the account owner or the billing contact in order to see that. So if you have further questions, just contact support@matterport.com and we'll be happy to help you out.
Well, Raul votes for you as Matterport CEO. It's a lot of work.
No, I like my CEO right now. We'll stick with him. He's good. Hey, Krista, how are you? Nice to see you. All right.
Oh,
So,
Krista wants you to be president. No, the thing is, if G becomes president, then who will stitch our models?
I know. Yeah, right? Hi, James. How are you? Nice to see you.
So there's a question from Ravi. He's making a very big project that'll integrate multiple BOKs and Matterport cameras. So are all scans from all cameras stitchable? Like Matterport and BLK, is that stitchable? If I did a Matterport scan and a BLK scan, what about a Theta? If I scan part of it, no, Theta models cannot be stitched. I did not know that.
So the rule is Matterport and BLK, the Leica camera, no problem. It's got real 3D data. They stitch well. It's better if you have at least one scan overlap, but we can do things like stack as well, where there's no overlap. The 360 spherical cameras, remember the 3D data is inferred. And so if you get misalignment or you want stitching, it becomes a lot harder. Some of them I can fix, but for the most part, no. When I try and work with the 3D data, it's not enough for me to fix. So it's kind of hit or miss. So if you care about your space, you should definitely use a Matterport or a BLK.
So Robbie wanted to know if you can stitch like 3 or 4 or more into one model. What is the maximum number of separate models that can be combined? Is there a limit?
No.
Oh,
so
okay.
I have stitched, I think, 30 into one, but they were small. Like wow. If you had models with 2 scans or 5, you could go maybe like 100, right? So stitching them together is no different than if you'd scan them together. Right. But I can't stitch it where it turns out where the resulting space is like over 1200, right? There is a limit as to the amount of scans that you can have in a space. So for example, if you start out with a large model and you upload it and it fails to process, then you split it into 2 on your iPad and you'll upload each individual one, and then you tell me to stitch them together. Well, stitching them together is just the same. You end up with the same result as what you originally had, and so that won't process either. And it's normally because you're running out of some type of resource, memory or whatever. If it gets too large, it just won't process.
So is that the problem of my iPad, or is it the problem of Matterport's processing system? When it fails, what typically causes the large model failure? Is it because on my iPad it did not align correctly?
No. No, typically if it's large and it fails, typically it's because it ran out of some kind of resource. It's too large, right? Usually like a memory resource. If you can't upload, that's separate. That's not processing.
So memory on Matterport's processing system? Matterport's processing, so the capacity is such that if it's over 1200, it'll struggle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I understand.
I've seen ones again that have over 1200 is about the max I've seen work, but I've seen scans with 1,000 spaces with 1,000 scans. They're fine. The performance when you pull it up is fine. You know, but it was a small square footage. It was the one that I liked the best was this building in Australia that looked like the Sydney Opera House, but it wasn't. But it was gorgeous, and it had over 1,000 scans. When you pulled it up, the performance was perfect. It wasn't slow or staggery at all. But remember, it covered a very small footprint. So the total square footage was small, which is why you could do that. So there's 3 things that will affect performance: the total amount of square footage, the total number of scans, and the amount of 3D data.
That makes sense. Ooh, question about hosting from Andy. So there's a starter plan which we can encourage customers to sign up for, and we can transfer 5 scans to it for them to pay themselves. But some customers only have 1 or 2. So has Matterport considered kind of a la carte hosting? Because with the new plans, 25 active scans is very few for someone who's actively scanning. And so it behooves some of us to offload it to clients, but not every client has 5 scans. So how does Matterport see, what does Matterport see as the best solution?
So they should set up starter plans, and you can transfer your spaces to them. Remember, if you have a starter plan, you can't transfer out, you can only transfer in, and you can't upload spaces that have non-360 spherical scans in them. But they're great, they're inexpensive. For $10 a month, you can host up to 5. It's the same price whether you have 1 or 5 models.
So. And that is Andy's challenge. Let's say
that
he does a restaurant and they say that we only have 1 location and we don't have other locations. Why should we pay for 5?
Yeah.
And so that becomes hard for Andy to respond to.
Yeah, then at that point, you could always keep it in your account and just charge them a certain amount, which is less than $10 a month to host it for them. So Ravi says, if I do 500, 500, 500, and 500, can you put all those together? No. You can maybe get away with 1,000 and 1,000, so 2 different models. But even then, again, like I said, it depends on the total square footage and the amount of 3D data. I just finished stitching 4 pieces together for somebody. It turned out really large. Let's see, it was for Nate. I think he posted it on here.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, that's humongous thing.
The poor guy had to walk 45 miles.
In 1 weekend, that's a lot of walking. Wow.
So you can look at that one. That one had, I think, about 1,000 scans in it. Yeah.
So James said that he had a model with 400 scan and it crashed the client's computer. The same thing happened to me. It was less than 400, but the client, like Raul said, if it's a new computer, then it's fine. But this client, they had, Internet Explorer, very old edition, and they had really old computers, and they were like, we don't see anything, only the black screen. And I said, why don't you put it on an iPad? And they said, no, we only have Microsoft Surface tablets. And so, there's kind of, so in that case, I just split up the model for them. I separated it into different floors so that they can look at it separately. That was the only way.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some beautiful spaces, and clients have had to split them up into pieces because their customers couldn't view them as one whole piece. But, it works.
Oh, James's client had a steam-powered computer. Oh.
Aw, sorry to hear that, James. Aw.
Oh, James O'Neill is here.
James Hilton and James O'Neill.
Yes, lots of Jameses. So James O'Neill is doing some exciting work with the BLK outside. So with the BLK, I'm still noticing that the exterior, when there's sunlight, we're still getting pink splotches. Is that something that can be improved on?
We're working on it. Sorry about that, but that is something we know about.
And so the firmware, I noticed there was a post in the BLK forum that the new firmware, there's some improvements as far as scan deletion and all that. So is it completely compatible with the Capture app? Is it recommended that we upgrade to the new BLK firmware?
Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't heard anything about why you shouldn't upgrade. So I would just go ahead and do that. If I find out that there's a reason why not to, I'll let you guys know. Hey,
Ooh, Mark
Gavin.
Shepard.
Oh, lots of people from Scotland.
Yes.
Oh, you guys are staying up to talk to us. Oh, wait, it's not that late, is it?
And so, what do you know about VRG? I don't have a lot of
Yeah.
experience. So this was discussed quite a bit on MOOC. So with Google Glasses on the Samsung phone, the 3D is not working, the virtual reality.
So you're using Google Glasses? Oh,
The Google Cardboard she is using.
no, yeah, Google Cardboard. Okay. So using Google Cardboard and the Samsung 8 Plus. I don't know why it's not working. Write into support@matterport.com and we'll help you troubleshoot. Like I'm not a big VR expert either, but we do have somebody in house who is.
Oh, awesome.
Her name's Maggie. She'll help you.
Maggie is awesome.
Some guys were saying they're having issues with Google Maps placement. Is there an issue we need to discuss? Do you know of any issue?
Google Maps, it usually, so there are many issues involved with uploading to the Google Street View. The client needs to have a business ID that has the correct address, otherwise it will not post. And then once you upload it, it can take a couple of days before the connections fully resolve. And then once the connections do resolve, unfortunately, the software creates connections between every two adjacent Matterport scans on Google. And by adjacent, the software interprets this as having no other scan in between. So if at a certain angle, there are no scans between the front door and the bathroom, even though it's 100 feet apart and there are 7 walls in between, it'll still create an arrow. And so when your clients are navigating the Google tour, it can be a little confusing, like, wow, why did I teleport to this room that I could not see before? So it's not line of sight. So you know how in Matterport, the navigation is line of sight. If you can't see it, you can't go there. On Google, and the interpretation becomes adjacent. And so what you can do is you can use a service called Go Through that I like a lot, and you can clear out all connections and you can build your own so that people navigate in the way that you intend for them to.
Great answer.
What I'm really hoping for is for Matterport to come up with internal workshopping tools to workshop the Google tours, because it is a little cumbersome. First you upload to Google and it's wrong, and then you download to Go Through, and then you have to re-upload. So the client has to wait for several days for all this uploading and downloading.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that we've heard and we know about, and maybe someday we'll have that feature. The other thing is if you have a scan that's hidden, it won't get uploaded to Google Street View. So if you don't want to upload all of your scans, then just hide the ones that you don't want, and then upload and then unhide them.
So another strategy is to try very carefully when you're scanning to scan with 90-degree turns to minimize the weird connections. And so the more angularly you scan, the fewer stray connections will be. But it's hard. I mean, some spaces just don't lend themselves to that.
And you have to think ahead. You have to put more thought in. I know. Oh, so James O'Neill said he upgraded to the latest version of firmware on his BLK and everything's to be working fine. Yay.
All right.
Thanks for that feedback, James O'Neill. I want the ability to dictate exactly where the 360 bubble and the VR tour bubble appears on the tour. The little blue dot that you see in a VR tour is exactly where the scan is. So if you want to change that, then you need to change where you scan. Hi, Dustin. Welcome, welcome.
So Jay wants to know about theta misalignment.
Yeah, like I said before, when you're scanning with a spherical 360 camera, it's the 3D data is not good enough right now for us to be able to repair them. So I try, and it's more likely that it won't be fixed than it will. So sorry. No.
So I know that the Cortex is using the past database of past scans. So how often is this updated?
That's a good question. I don't know, but it should be constantly learning. We should be constantly feeding it more information.
Okay, so then the outdoor scans and the theta scans should get progressively better, right? As more outdoor data gets inputted into the system for the
Yeah,
software to learn from.
in theory, yeah. It should, as time goes on, it should get smarter and smarter, unlike us.
Well, what about the algorithm for the auto-generated videos?
Auto
Those,
gallery.
the auto gallery and the auto videos, those don't seem to get smarter. They're still prioritizing bathrooms.
I know. If you have a commercial building with a
Yes,
bathroom,
yes.
I think what happens in a commercial building is because it's typically wide open spaces and it's looking for rooms it recognizes, and what do
It
you know?
recognizes toilets, yes.
Every building has a toilet. So yeah, they're working on that too, but that's a hard one. Yeah.
Well, Jay thinks that they've gotten better, so that's good.
There you go. Go James. Yeah, we are trying to repair and make things better as time goes on. So, yeah. Hey Keith, nice to have you. All right, Chris Wilson says
360 placements. Oh, not my favorite.
it's still really difficult for placement. Can we not select where the man exit point would be from within the 360 image and move the icon to the desired spot? Yeah, we've had a lot of feedback about 360 placement. We definitely know some of the issues that you guys have encountered. Thank you for that piece of advice. We're definitely listening and taking all of that into consideration. Yeah, so the way to move the blue man, which is the guy that takes you back to your inside view, is to rotate the 360 image. So I usually just kind of rotate and try it, and I'm getting pretty good at hitting it most times. So
I think what the documentation does not say is that the 360 view needs to be attached to one of the 3D scans.
yeah,
So it can't go just anywhere. If you don't have a scan by the front door, then you can't put the 360 view right at the front door because there's nothing for it to stick to.
yeah, that's a good point. So when you are scanning, if you have a 360 view that you want to place, add an extra scan in that's close to where you want that to connect on the outside of the building to the inside of the building. So if you think a little bit of ahead, then you can make your life a lot easier and when you go to place the 360 views.
But so I think the issue is, so I have this building that I'm scanning. The exit to the back patio is off to the side, and the closest scan to the back patio 360 is a bathroom. And so the 360 attaches to the closest 3D scan. I would like to show it the accurate position when I'm placing it on the map.
Mm-hmm.
So that when you look in dollhouse view, the 360 appears in the middle. But if I put it in the middle, then when people return, they're in the toilet. So that's not good. So there's not a lot of flexibility. Either I have to put it in the wrong place on the map so that it's aligned with the door, so that in dollhouse view it looks way off to the side, where it is not, or it just philosophically it doesn't quite sync.
Yeah, and it's hard to get it to work in every situation, and it sounds like that's just one situation where it's kind of not ideal. So just do the best that you can.
I'm trying.
I'm sure you are.
But sometimes clients ask, like, can't you attach it to the right place and have it come in the right place? Like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so Gerald, you're asking for a lot of things with the placement of 360s. I will definitely collect all those and pass them along. I did talk to the engineer in charge of that last week, and he's definitely open to hearing all of your suggestions. So yeah, we'll definitely take that and pass that along.
360 conversions to 3D. So sometimes it converts fine, but the last one shows up in the middle of the house. So that happens a lot with, even with 3D misalignments. If it doesn't understand where it's supposed to go, it can show up way on the other side of the building because it doesn't understand. So when you do a conversion, then it's especially hard because the software is trying to interpret based on the photographic data where it should be in 3D, and it just was not able to do it. So maybe you have to do another one closer and try again. But it's not, the success rate, I don't think is 100% for anyone yet.
All right, so here's what Tom says.
I am
Good
on the
morning.
wrong side.
Isabel is on the wrong side.
Wrong side of what? I'm sorry.
I love that comment. You're on the wrong side, Isabel. Get over here. Okay, we need more explanation, Tom. We don't know what you're talking about. All right. When add view for the highlight reel, the super low res thumbnail appears in the photo gallery, causing confusion with many about image size. Can these low res thumbs not appear in the library? Oh, I believe that was a bug and that has been fixed. But I will follow up with you offline on that, Keith. She's always on the right. I don't know how to make you on the left. Oh, that's a Facebook thing. We'll have to call Facebook. We'll have to see how good their customer support is.
So can you, when the 360 view is converted through 3D and it aligns in the wrong spot, do you have the ability to move it, Dee? Or is it hard because it's not real?
So I can, but again, the 3D data is not, it's hard. It sometimes will work, but usually it doesn't. So even if you scan with your Matterport camera and you do a 360 and you convert that to 3D scan, it's still, the 3D data is not as good as if you would just scan a regular 3D scan. Okay, Harry says, is there any way to control direction with the walkthrough? Most of my tours will turn the direction I would like, but I get scans that will spin one way and flip back to the other direction. Any way to control that? All right, panning. Here's how it works. So you're at one location and you take a snapshot. Okay, then you go to the next scan and you take a snapshot. It's the next one in your highlight reel. If you start with the prior one and you take a line and you draw that from your face straight out, then you look at where your next scan is in that highlight reel. If it's to the right of that line, it'll pan right. If it's to the left of that line, it'll pan left, right? So, for example, if I'm here and my next scan is out here to the right here, and I get to this scan here and it starts panning to the right, and it's panning to the right, but it's hitting a wall, then just move that snapshot a little bit to the left. So when it pans right, it won't hit the wall. So sometimes you do have to take your snapshots and move them around a little bit so that when it pans, it's not hitting like a wall or a toilet or whatever. Hope that makes sense.
Is there any possibility in the future of letting the user decide how to pan?
That's definitely a feature that's been requested. I don't know that will be available anytime soon. Gerald asks a good question. There is a URL parameter that you can use to change the speed of the walkthrough. It's WTS, which is walkthrough speed. And I think the default is 2 meters per second. And you can set it to 1, which is 1 meter per second, which is faster. No, slower, or you can do like 3 or 4, which is faster. But most people want to slow it down, so most people will go with walkthrough speed of 1. Alan says, what about window marking issues? Still have black holes in windows? Yes. So the software has recently changed and window markings can move 40 centimeters one way or the other, back or forth. So sometimes when you place a window, it doesn't actually, our our very smart software will sometimes get it wrong and we'll place it in the incorrect position. You can either try to move it back and forth a little bit and see if you can get it to work. If not, contact support, let us know. We're gathering all examples so we can give those to the engineers. They can take a look at it and hopefully make it better.
So this goes back to Clint's question a few back about a beginner question. If all the windows are marked, should I still trim the perimeter spray? And it depends. Sometimes you don't need to, but sometimes it helps. And like Dee said, the software recently changes, so the behavior may be different. So I would allow some extra time and experiment with different markings to see how it turns out. It is not completely foolproof.
And if you're in doubt, just trim around the whole building. What have you got to lose, right? It takes a while for models to process, and so sometimes you don't want to wait. So if I don't know, what I will do is I'll just mark all the windows, upload it, and then I'll put trim around the entire thing, then upload that, and I'll do like several versions at the same time, hoping that one of them works.
And so there is no cost to uploading several versions of the same model. Let's say that you're in a hurry and you need the trim to be correct. You can duplicate the scan and you can trim both ways that you have in mind and upload both. And that is the same cost.
Yes. And if you're on the new plan, it doesn't cost you anything to upload. So there you go.
Yay.
Yay.
So some good news from Tom.
Yay for the new plans. Okay, go ahead.
Good news from Tom. He's working on a Verbo unscan to experiment with navigation, and they're going to update their navigation to make it nicer.
Yay.
So that is
Thanks
good.
for doing that, Tom. That's awesome. That's good news. Thank you. Keep it up. Let me know. Let me know what they decide to do because I want to know.
So Janae has a question that often comes up on MOUG. She would like the stats to be automated and sent to her clients, so that she doesn't have to extract, like, copy one, send one, copy another, send another.
Yeah, so that's a feature request that we currently have. Hey, Phil.
Do the number of 360s affect model performance? I've never thought of that. Let's say that I do a really big model and it's already at the limit. If I added a bunch of 360s, will it make the model perform even worse, or is it a completely separate bucket of resources?
I would assume that if you add more stuff, it's going to affect performance. 360s in the background but not placed.
Yes, if you just did a bunch of 360s. And
that's a good question. I would think that it wouldn't, but I will find out. I'll get you an answer to that. Let me write that down.
But if it is placed but not converted, does it affect navigation?
It won't affect navigation, but I would assume it would affect performance, but I'll find out. I asked because I've had slower models when I've taken lots of additional 360s. Interesting. And if you made a copy and deleted all the 360s, Keith, is the performance the same? Any update on the Oculus Go? No, not currently. I don't have any updates on that. Hey, Jack, nice to see you. All righty. I think that's it. I don't see any other questions. Do you see any other questions, Isabel?
No.
I do see here when I'm on looking through the Matterport users group, the MOUG feed, I see that you are now on the left-hand side. Do you see that?
Oh, no, I only see my own iPad screen. I guess Facebook switched it. Oh, interesting. That is why I'm
I
on the
wonder if
wrong
Adam
side.
did that. Did you switch us, Adam? It just switched? It's magic! Okay. Well, there you go. I bet Harry did it. All right. Anyway, thanks, Keith. Definitely try that and give me feedback and let me know. I will find out the answer to your question and I will get back to you. Other than that, it's 9:30 and it's time for us to sign off. Remember, we will be back next week, same time, same place, right, Isabel?
Yes.
Thank you so much to Isabel for everything she does for the community during Facebook Live and during the week. We wouldn't be here without you. And also to lovely Adam, who's sitting right here bugging me, who makes all this magic happen. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.